22 minutes to 8. This morning we're asking this question: should the NHS be expected to pay for expensive treatments for obesity, like weight loss operations?
Thomas Conliffe has been told he doesn't qualify for a gastric bypass because he's not obese enough. Now he's taking his local health trust to court to try to force them to fund his surgery.
Well, we'll discuss the implications for the health service in a moment. First, Bramwell Jeffries has been to meet Mr. Conliffe.
I truly do.
Thomas Conliffe rarely leaves his house because of his poor health. His weight has reached 22 stone and he has severe type 2 diabetes. He says doctors have told him the only solution is weight loss surgery. Even a restricted diet hasn't helped. But his attempt to get NHS funding now depends on a legal detail. Should the impact on his life and his family be taken into account? Tom Conliffe says his illness has made him and his wife virtual prisoners.
Thank you, my love. It's awful just being locked indoors. I cannot describe to anyone the feeling that it gives you when you're locked inside one little place. It doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter how nice it is, it's still a cage.
Whether you get weight loss surgery on the NHS depends partly on where you live. Different areas apply different standards, but almost everywhere in England makes the decision on medical grounds alone. The NHS argues it's the only way to be fair to every patient. That principle is now going to be tested in the courts. Bramwell Jeffries, BBC News.
With us now Ahmed, who's a consultant weight loss surgeon and social commentator. Jenny Trent-Hughes, who's had gastric surgery herself.
Hello.
Good morning. Jenny, tell us first of all what you had a gastric bypass, didn't you, on the NHS?
Yes, I did.
And run us through it a little bit. Was it a big operation? Was it an expensive operation? And how much of a difference did it make to you? Why did you have it?
Well, I had it because I needed surgery. I needed a completely different type of surgery for some tumours that I had. And they wanted to do laser surgery and said that because of my size, it would be complicated. And there was a possibility that the laser surgery would go terribly wrong and they would need to do something else that I didn't want. So they said, lose some weight first.
Oh, how big were you, Sergeant?
I was almost 18 stone. Right. My BMI was 40. And so they said, right, that's what you need to do. And so I tried to lose weight, and the weight wasn't shifting. So they started testing me to find out if there was something else wrong, why I wasn't losing weight. And it turned out that my metabolism was completely clapped out, which happens to a lot of people, especially women, because of yo-yo dieting. So it's kind of like if you have a car where all the suspenders break, putting a new cushion in it isn't going to make it run better. You need to fix the suspension.
Right. Ahmed, this gentleman who's taken it to the appeal court today has been told that he's not obese enough to have gastric surgery paid for by the NHS in England. So what are the rules currently that exist?
Yes, we have national guidelines dictated by NICE, which is the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, which is actually an NHS body. And basically your body mass index has to be 35 with a comorbidity or an illness, or over 40 if you don't have one. So basically it's a BMI 35 or 40. Plus, you should have tried lifestyle measures such as dieting for at least 6 months before being referred for this kind of surgery.
So, ironically, then, you can qualify for the NICE guidelines, so to speak, but that won't help you with your local NHS trust because it's only a guideline, not a requirement.
Precisely, yes. And that's what we find in a number of cases where patients meet NICE guidelines, but depending on where you live and the PCT that sort of is responsible for your care.
It's the postcode lottery.
It is, but a lot of PCTs have their own healthcare sort of problems, and local policymakers need to decide where to invest money for treatments.
Yeah. Lots of people writing in, as you imagine, Jenny, this morning. Some of them saying...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They've been writing to me. You're still... I get people who say you're still fat, you were ugly before, you're still ugly now. I mean, it is absolutely incredible.
Why does this provoke so much? Is it
exactly.
Is it because... I mean, some people saying here that... if you are obese, then it's self-inflicted and therefore you should pay for your own health care. That's what somebody like Tina was saying.
I mean, the thing about it is that there are a lot of misconceptions about being overweight. A lot of it, you're just lazy, all you need to do is this, all you need to do is that. Nobody was more upset that I needed surgery than myself, because I thought, I'm a strong woman, I'm capable, I can do this, that or the other, why can't I shift the weight? Then when they started, testing me, because takes like 6 months before they give you a yes or a no. It then turned out that there were things wrong with me that I didn't know. And I had been overweight since I was about 5. And I come from a family of very thin people.
Is in the long term, is it cost effective to give people these operations on the NHS?
It is highly cost effective. I mean, one should not forget that obesity is a life-threatening illness. And just like lung cancer or liver disease, and those are also sort of, you could say, self-inflicted from either alcohol or smoking. But obesity is a life-threatening illness. And the key thing to remember is by treating one disease, you actually reduce the risk and actually put into remission many, many other diseases which are caused from the obesity. And hence, it's highly cost-effective. Just a few months ago, we had a report which showed that the cost of these surgeries pays for itself within 2 or 3 years. The treatment cost of treating diabetes, for example, is £3,000 per year per person. The cost of a gastric bypass operation to the NHS is probably around £6,000. So you can already add up the maths here, highly in favour of surgery.
Jenny, you've obviously lost a lot of weight. How does it change your life in other ways, though?
It has completely changed my life. And one of the things that I think that we don't do enough of in this country is talk about the mental aspects of being overweight or the mental aspects of losing weight. Because a lot of people who have bariatric surgery think that everything that's wrong in their life is wrong because they're fat, and when they're not fat anymore, their life is going to be wonderful. And that's nonsense. So one thing that I would like to see is I would like to see more mental work done before you have the surgery. Because I think that's hugely, hugely important. I'm now finding out that heartbreak without cupcakes is tough. It's tough.
But are you eating an awful lot less?
Well, I describe it, you know how when you get a handbag nowadays, there's always that little pouch inside where you put your mobile phone?
Yeah.
That's what my stomach is like. My stomach is like the little mobile phone pouch. So yes, I eat a lot less, but I've been hungry maybe twice in 2 years. I don't feel deprived. I can eat what everybody else eats. I just eat a tiny bit of it. And I need to eat healthy, you know, to be sure that I eat healthy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you both.
And Ahmed, thanks very much for coming in as well this morning. Thank you for your views as well this morning.
Indeed. The time is